For start, we're going viral. See, LeBron James passed Michael Jordan on the all-time points list last night, but the real accomplishment was being gifted a necklace by 2 Chainz after the game.
He almost got gifted a phone charger, too. Someone's phone charger was on the court during...
All right, here, Broussard, who wore it better, LeBron, Nick, or 2 Chainz?
Well, they did. All right, I'll give the graphic staff credit.
This looks fresh.
They finally gave me a real chain, not the mall kiosk $18
high school
chain.
Yeah, they did give you a big chain. No, those are diamonds.
Pearls.
That's a good-looking one.
That's a good
You
looking
can't tell me those don't look like pearls, Broussard.
We all can tell you
and
that.
Marnie and them are only 2. Everyone else knows that's bling bling. Oh, Lord help me. Send someone for me right now.
Better job, graphics department. I like it.
She's not playing.
No, she's serious. She thought LeBron and I were both wearing Photoshopped. Well,
speaking of the king, LeBron James made history last night sporting sneakers with a message to Michael Jordan. Why? Because he passed his idol for 4th all-time on the NBA scoring list, trailing just now Kareem, Karl, and Kobe. LeBron said this ranks up there with winning a championship, a very emotional tribute to him during the game last night. Broussard, what does this accomplishment mean for LeBron's legacy?
Well, I'm really happy for LeBron because I know, and he's talked about how much it meant to him to pass MJ. So that's great, but it doesn't
More
mean
than just the accomplishment, but passing Michael Jordan
that was his idol. It doesn't mean he's better than Michael Jordan any more than when Kobe passed MJ or Karl Malone passed him. It meant they were better. None of them are better than Michael Jordan. But one thing I want to bring up with this, LeBron, and a lot of people say he's a pass-first guy, so for him to be in the top 5, I push back against that. He scored first. He might be past 1A, past 1B, but he's a scorer. LeBron James is a scorer. Now, he doesn't want to go out there and get 35. He could have averaged more points if he focused solely on scoring, but I would say he's a scorer. And then he's also a tremendous passer. I'd say it's 1A or 1B with the passing. But if you look at that top 5 list, only 2 of those players, this is a credit to LeBron's just ability, but also mental toughness. 2 of those players, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James, were ballyhooed and hyped since they were teenagers.
Yep.
Michael Jordan was, we know he wasn't this blue chip top 10 recruit when he went to North Carolina. Kobe Bryant was a great, high school player, obviously, but the 13th pick in the draft. And Karl Malone went to Louisiana Tech. So to have, and Kareem did it obviously in a different era. To do what LeBron James has done and live up to the hype, that's tremendous. We've seen O.J. Mayo was hyped as a young kid. He never lived up to it. Remember Demetrius Walker? On the cover of Sports Illustrated at 14, never lived up to it. So that type of pressure.
Telfair.
Right.
A lot of high school people bring up LeBron being on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a high schooler. A bunch came after him. Right. Listen, he's the most hyped prep athlete ever, and he exceeded the hype. The only maybe athlete that I can think of that was hyped as much, even at a younger age than LeBron, is Tiger Woods. And Tiger Woods lived up to and exceeded the hype, but then obviously had an awful, downfall later in his career. To do it, the scoring is unbelievable. And he is, well, even if you want to push back these past first, of everyone on that list, he's the only one that is really past anything. Like he's the only one.
Jordan could pass.
Absolutely, but it was never. No one would say passing was 1A or 1B for him. Jordan was an excellent passer, and I actually think Kobe was a very good passer as well. But it wasn't never part of what they were looking to do regularly up and down the court. But for LeBron to go through being famous, like you mentioned, as a teen, without any missteps, with the biggest public mistake he made was the decision. Right? Or the pep rally that came after the decision, which probably compounded the way he did the decision, is remarkable. To do it and to do what he's done on and off the court while sustaining this level of basketball excellence, 16 years in, 27, 9, and 8 for the season. Obviously, this season itself has been a major disappointment. And this season as a whole is a negative mark, probably legacy-wise, rather than a positive mark. But to get to this point...
Look at those numbers in a bad year,
You look at those numbers, and you look at where everyone else was on the list when they got into the top 5, where they were in their career. Like where Kobe was on his second to last season. Jordan, when he passed Wilt, he was a wizard. Right? You know what? And so Kareem obviously is in a different category because he passed Wilt and played for another 7 years, something like that. But all of it is unprecedented for any player in NBA history.
Broussard, where does this accomplishment rank among all the things that LeBron has accomplished in his life?
I think, look, the greatest thing was the comeback from down 3-1 to Golden State. I mean, that was clearly the greatest thing. And I also think, and then I saw you earlier, the championships, all the championships matter more than this because this isn't the record. I mean, when he gets to number 1, if he ever gets there, he'll certainly get to number 2, I believe, then that will be a more significant. But I would say what he just did a couple weeks ago when he became the only player ever in the top 10 in assists, top 5 scoring, that's much more significant than this because that speaks to the versatility of LeBron James. And one of the arguments, and I know you obviously think he's the GOAT, Nick, one of the great arguments for LeBron in that is the longevity.
Of course.
And no one, I said it last year, no one ever in the history of the game has been in their 15th season the best player in the world. Whether he is this year or not, you know, I don't think he probably isn't anymore. But in your 15th year to be the best player in the world, no one has ever done that. So his longevity, these records speak to that too.
Yeah, LeBron, he is a tremendous basketball player. And however he wants to categorize it, how he grew up, I think it's very, very important that how you're raised and how you're taught something, that you're a reflection of that even become a star. He goes back to his first basketball coach who was a father figure to him, taught him about it's more important to get others involved. Now, LeBron also had the skill set, but I'm like you. I don't think LeBron's a pass-first player. He has the skill set of Magic Johnson, but also he has one of the unique abilities to be able to score the basketball like players we haven't seen. Also, size, weight, speed, and power, all right? He is able to utilize that, especially on the offensive end. So, phenomenal player, skill set like we've never seen before, the overall longevity, how long he was able to stay in his prime, those are the things that you bring into the conversation as far as him and MJ. But when you grow up idolizing one person, it becomes very, very important as far as the numbers, if you can reach that number. So this is a very, very important milestone for LeBron. I can guarantee if you could pick one number that he could pass Jordan with, we know what number that'd be. Oh, and that's the number that the people who think he's the greatest don't want to talk about. Because if you could put LeBron, if you could put truth serum in him and sit him down and be like, okay, you can have any of LeBron, any of Jordan's numbers, which ones will it be? It'll be them times he was holding up that trophy and the times he was the MVP. So tremendous accomplishment. Also, his career, it's still not over with yet.
Right.
So that's what I want to ask you, Broussard, because I know for Chris what the standard is if he's going to come to my side of the equation on LeBron's the greatest player ever. Because you said it's championships, but Chris has funny championship math. He gave him 2 for the championship in Cleveland. That title.
Well, you have to because they beat one of the greatest teams ever, and they came back.
Came back greatest comeback in NBA history.
The point I'm making is for Chris, LeBron doesn't need 6 actual rings.
That's one of the worst championship teams ever in NBA history, the Cavs with LeBron. From talent.
In 2016?
Yeah, I'm talking about the team. Like that team. How many teams?
Kyrie and
But how many teams could that team beat?
Well, listen, the argument for LeBron is...
I think that was a great team.
I think the 2016 Cavs and the Cavs the year that Kevin Durant first went to the Warriors, that Cavs team was the best one, I thought. The one that lost in 5 to the Warriors. Yes, I thought that was the best Cavs team. I thought that the level their offense was at in the postseason was unbelievable. It's neither here nor there. The reason that I can't just do the championship math 1 for 1 is because all championships aren't created equal. All competition is not created equal. And that is a team accomplishment. Now, in basketball, one player has more impact on it than in any other sport.
Yeah, especially when you're first team All-NBA, both sides, offense and defense.
Absolutely.
I think you want to know what would it take? What would I have to see?
For you, what would you?
I don't know that LeBron can pass Jordan. I think it's not, for me, it's not just 6 rings to 3 rings. I think Jordan had no weaknesses. You nitpick. When you're talking about guys this great, you're nitpicking. LeBron has a weakness, the foul shooting. I think Jordan was a better post player, even though he was smaller. He had a better post game in an era where you had 7-foot great centers. And Jordan had a better post game. I think Jordan was a slightly better finisher. Again, going against 7-foot shot blockers, the best era of big men ever. So I just think Jordan, I think he also could fit better into a system. He didn't become the system. He was able to fit, under Phil Jackson especially, fit into a system where LeBron kind of has to become the system. So I think that made him easier to play with. So I just think that Jordan was a flat-out better player. I can't think of a weakness.
So that argument, while I disagree with it, that argument to me is so much more salient than the 6 versus 3. Because that argument is about who they are as a basketball player, what they were and weren't able to do. Because do I believe that if you could do this, if you put Michael Jordan on throughout his career prime on every Cavs team and Heat team that LeBron's been on over the last 8 seasons, I think he would have 3 championships. They wouldn't be the same 3. I think he would have won the first 3 in Miami, and I don't think Jordan, with that last Heat team or any of the Cavs teams, would have won a title. And
that's pure speculation. Of course, we have to go on what happened.
Well, okay, but hold on.
What they did.
But what you're saying is also a different type of speculation, because what happened is LeBron's got him trumped in every stat. LeBron's got more points, more rebounds, more assists, higher field goal percentage.
They're not per game.
What?
Per game, Jordan averaged 3 more points per game. Jordan's PER is higher.
Per game, he has him trumped in everything except for points.
1 more rebound. He's what, 3 inches taller. He should average more rebound. 1 more rebound per game, 2 more assists per game.
Yes.
Career.
Absolutely.
I mean, 1 more rebound when you're that much bigger, that's not that. I could argue Jordan was as good or better a rebounder.
Okay, and so
just for size.
So, but all of that, like, is the speculation you were talking about. So you said PER. That is the advanced stat Jordan has. LeBron has value over replacement player, box score plus minus, win shares, offensive and defensive. The other element to it is that is indefinable, and it's just what you value is the longevity of it. Is how much longer LeBron can keep this up, and how much that matters in your eyes.
I would say at some point longevity can work against you. Michael Jordan, essentially, we know he played 15 years. I would even say 11, like the last 2 he really played 11 years because two he was hurt, or 1 he was hurt,
and
then 1 he came back from baseball.
And 2 in Washington.
He won 6 rings in 11 years. At some point, LeBron has won 3 in 16. So at some point, the longevity can work against you in an argument where you're nitpicking. You know, it doesn't have to be the longest career, but who got more done in their career? And Jordan, obviously, 6 rings and 11 years beats 3 in 16. Or 17 or 18.
Well, no, listen, I don't think championships are the end all be all of the discussion. I think if they were, then we would talk more about Bill Russell. We would talk a lot less about Wilt. We'd talk less about Jerry West. We'd talk more about, like, I don't think championships
Russell didn't dominate individually, statistically, the way Jordan did.
No,
Jordan dominated statistically and winning wise.
All right, we got to the bottom of that. Finally,
my case. I've been saying the guy didn't have no weakness. I guess that's the first time he heard that.
Chris, thanks for joining us. Take a break. Coming up, where could Odell Beckham end up next season? Next up, First Things First.
A little